black girl nerds. Better shake your booties for black girl nerds.
Wait, how? What?
You a black girl. I don't know if you're a nerd.
I definitely
They're
am a nerd.
amazing to be seen.
Okay.
Give us something, see if she spill it.
So Chadwick, thank you for talking with Black Girl Nerds. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's great to have you.
So, gotta ask the question. Obviously, Marshall, kind of his career, a lot of that is attributing to him being able to pass. So, for you, what compelled you to take this role, since you're obviously not the same skin tone as Thurgood is in real life?
He didn't pass. He was not a black man that passed. He was a black man who was light-skinned enough to pass. There's another character, Walter White, who was part of NAACP. He is very much known for passing. There's a whole story about him infiltrating, I think, the Ku Klux Klan. But Thurgood Marshall didn't pass. He lived in Harlem. His friends were Zora Neale Hurston, Langston Hughes. He went around the country fighting for freedom, justice, and equality for black people. He never passed. He was in the back of the cars of sheriffs and Ku Klux Klansmen and was almost lynched. He was seen as a black man. So he had the ability, maybe, in some cases to pass, but he did not pass. Now, furthermore, as far as this story goes, when he walks into that courtroom and they say you're gagged, they didn't say you gagged because you're a light-skinned man. They say you gagged because you're a black man. So him passing in this story is kind of never a factor. It's never written into the story. If this was a cradle-to-grave story about Thurgood Marshall, and I was telling a story about him working in the hat shop, a Jewish-owned hat shop in Baltimore, or a story about his days when, as a youth, growing up in Baltimore, where there were various different, it was a more diverse place in the country than other places, I would say, oh yeah, his race may be a factor for a second, but his daddy told him, if anybody ever called you nigga, then you hit him, you know. So he wasn't a person that passed. That's a misconception from people who have not actually read the history of Thurgood Marshall.
So you don't think that with his lighter skin tone, a lot of his success wouldn't necessarily contribute to him being a little bit more digestible, even though obviously still he's black, but...
I think people in this particular time, they interpret history from their lens. And when they do that, it's basically it's a strike at what actually happened. Like I said, if I read the history and I read all of the cases, I can't find any place where his complexion played a role in him winning a case. I don't find it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerds. Better shake your booties for black girl nerds.